Hey, I'm so glad you're here. Let's talk about something that's going to shift the way you think about attraction. Because for so long, women have been told that the way to make a man obsessed is by playing it cool, holding back, and waiting for him to make the first move. But you know what I've learned from coaching thousands of women around the world? That the most magnetic, unforgettable women, the ones who leave a man thinking about them at 2 a.m. smiling to himself because he can't get her out of his head, they don't wait, they don't play small, and they definitely don't rely on outdated rules. They make bold moves. Now, I'm not talking about chasing him down or throwing yourself at someone just to get attention. That's not bold. That's desperate. Boldness, when done right, is quiet confidence. It's knowing your worth so deeply that you're not afraid to show interest, to spark connection, and to walk away if it's not reciprocated. A bold move is what creates obsession, not because it's flashy or dramatic, but because it's rare. Most people are afraid to show up with intention. Most people are afraid to reveal what they want, how they feel, or even how powerfully they're attracted to someone. But you're not most people. And in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 bold moves that will make a man not only notice you, but start thinking about you in a way that keeps him coming back for more. These aren't tricks. These aren't games. These are moves that come from real self-worth. Because when you understand your power as a woman, when you step into your playful, confident, feminine energy, you don't need to manipulate anyone to earn their attention. You simply become unforgettable. So whether you're dating, in a situationship, or curious about how to reignite the spark with someone who's starting to pull away, these 5 bold moves are going to help you shift the dynamic and put you back in the driver's seat of your love life. Ready? Let's dive in. One of the boldest moves a woman can make, one that will live rent-free in a man's mind long after the interaction is over, is to be the one who expresses genuine admiration first. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Wait, Matthew, isn't that too forward? Isn't that giving the game away? But here's the truth. The most confident women don't sit back waiting for a man to impress them. They observe him, they see him. And when they genuinely admire something, but they say it, not because they're trying to win him over, but because they're secure enough not to play small. What most people do in early attraction is wait for permission to show interest. They hold back their compliments like poker chips, scared to make the first move because they don't want to look too keen. But guess what? That creates a dynamic of fear, not connection. Real attraction, the kind that leaves a man thinking about you long after you're gone, happens when you create a moment of emotional impact. And one of the fastest, most authentic ways to do that is to express admiration in a way that is real, unexpected, and grounded. Here's what that looks like. You're in conversation and he's telling a story, maybe about something he's proud of or something he cares deeply about. Maybe he's talking about his work or a personal value or the way he handled a difficult situation. This is the moment where most people just nod politely, say that's cool and move on. But you stop, you look at him and say something like, I really admire how thoughtful you are about that. Or that kind of focus is rare, that's impressive. Or even more simply, I like that about you. Not said with desperation, not with any expectation, just a warm, calm acknowledgement that you see something special and you're not afraid to say so. That moment hits different. Because suddenly you're not just another person he's talking to. You've shown him that you pay attention, that you recognize quality, that you have standards, and that he's met one. That level of appreciation, especially when it comes from a woman who clearly values herself, is intoxicating to a man. It's not the compliment itself that makes it powerful, it's the confidence behind it. You're not saying it to get something in return. You're saying it because you're present enough to notice something beautiful and bold enough to voice it. What happens next is subtle but game-changing. You shift the dynamic. Now he's thinking about you, not because you've been flashy or overly flirtatious, but because you've given him a rare moment of connection. a moment where he felt seen. And when a man feels seen by a woman he respects, he doesn't forget it. He leans in, he invests, he starts to wonder what else you might see in him. And just like that, you've gone from someone he liked to someone he can't stop thinking about. There's something powerful about a woman who knows when to leave, not because she's disinterested, but because she knows the value of mystery, and she understands the power of ending things on a high. One of the boldest moves you can make, especially in the early stages of dating, is walking away while the energy is still vibrant. When the conversation is flowing, the chemistry is alive, and both of you are completely engaged. That's the moment most people want to cling to stretch out as long as possible. But the woman who knows how to end the moment before it peaks, she becomes unforgettable. She leaves a man in a state of beautiful frustration, thinking, why did that feel so good? And why do I want more? The reason this move works so well is because it taps into something primal, curiosity. Most people live for closure. We want to wrap things up, to feel finished, to leave knowing the moment reached its natural end. But when you leave just before that moment, while the conversation is still playful, while the attraction is still rising, you leave a man in a state of emotional suspense. And that suspense creates tension. That tension creates longing. And that longing is the beginning of healthy obsession. You've now turned a fun moment into a mental replay loop in his head. And here's the real secret. It only works when it's done from a place of confidence. When you leave early with fear because you're nervous or insecure, it feels like you're retreating. But when you leave early with certainty, with a little smile that says, I could stay, but I don't need to, you radiate self-respect. It tells him, I enjoyed you, but I don't chase pleasure at the expense of my standards. That's rare. That's magnetic. And that kind of woman, she stands out. You can do this in a subtle but impactful way. Let's say the date is going well. He's leaning in, he's asking more questions, he's clearly into you. Instead of letting it fade out awkwardly or pushing it until you're both exhausted, you say, this has been really fun. I should head out soon, but I've loved this. That's it. No drama, no excuses. And you're not cutting him off. You're closing the moment gracefully. And in doing so, you tell him something important. You have limits. You don't overgive. You know how to leave a room in a way that makes people want to follow you out. Men aren't used to that. They're used to women who overextend themselves to prove they're interested. But when you leave while the fire is still burning, he starts thinking about the next time. He starts planning how he'll see you again. And here's the best part. He'll likely reach out first, not because he's playing a role, but because you created a moment worth chasing. When you walk away first while it's still good, you're not cutting off intimacy, you're preserving its value. And that kind of restraint, that kind of awareness, that's unforgettable. Most people don't realize just how much can be said without uttering a single word. But when it comes to building obsession, there's one move that is so simple, so subtle, and yet so unbelievably powerful. It's holding eye contact. Not just looking, not just glancing, I mean holding it. Steady, warm, confident, with zero apology. In a world where most people break eye contact, the second they feel something real, a woman who can hold a man's gaze, even for just a few seconds longer than expected, sends a message that cuts straight to the heart. It says, I see you. I'm not afraid of this moment. I'm comfortable in this energy. Now, most people are afraid to do this. Why? Because it feels incredibly intimate. To look someone in the eyes and stay there without filling the space with nervous laughter or looking at your phone is to be seen and to see someone all at once. It creates a kind of vulnerability most people aren't used to. But here's the magic. That tension, that discomfort, that's exactly where the chemistry lives. When you hold eye contact, especially with a little knowing smile, you build an unspoken tension that makes his heart race without him knowing why. Let's say you're sitting across from him at dinner, or maybe standing next to him at a party. He says something charming or funny, and instead of quickly looking away or giggling, you just lock in. You let your eyes do the talking. You lean in slightly, not with your body, but with your energy. It's a subtle message that says, I'm not in a rush to run from this moment. I'm right here, and I like what I see. That kind of presence is intoxicating, because in a world of distractions, a woman who's actually present stands out like a spotlight. And it's not just about creating tension in that moment. It's about planting something in his mind that lingers. He'll think about that look when he's lying in bed later. He'll remember how he felt when your eyes held his. He'll wonder what you were thinking. He'll wonder what it meant. And that wondering, that curiosity, it's a loop his brain won't be able to close easily. That's how you become unforgettable. Not because you showed more skin, not because you said the perfect line, but because you offered presence and confidence in a way most people are too afraid to. Holding eye contact isn't about power games. It's about intimacy. It's about showing that you're comfortable enough with yourself to meet someone in their energy and stay there. And the beautiful part is, it doesn't take more than a few seconds. You don't have to stare him down. You don't have to make it creepy. You just hold for a beat longer than expected and then let it go. That moment stays with him, because it wasn't force, it was felt. And once a man feels that kind of connection with you, even for just a few seconds, he'll be chasing it again and again. There's an art to seduction that doesn't rely on revealing skin or making bold declarations. It lies in the subtle tension between playfulness and elegance. One of the most irresistible bold moves you can make is to tease him, but do it with class. Not sarcasm, not cruelty, not over-the-top innuendo. Real teasing is flirtation that's grounded in warmth. It's about showing you can play in the space between comfort and curiosity without giving everything away. When a woman can tease a man with that quiet confidence, like she knows she's desirable, but doesn't need to prove it, he becomes hooked. Teasing, when done right, is one of the most powerful forms of connection because it creates dynamic tension. It says, I see you, I like you, but I'm not going to make it too easy for you. That's intoxicating, because men don't want someone who just agrees with everything they say. They don't want someone who's always on their side out of politeness. What they truly crave is someone who challenges them playfully, someone who makes them feel like they have to earn more of you, while still knowing they're welcomed into the moment. Let's say he's talking about how good he is at cooking, or bragging about something he clearly wants to impress you with. You could nod and flatter him, sure, but the bolder, more compelling move, smile and say, oh, so you're that guy, huh? The I'll cook for you guy. I met a few of those, delivered with a smirk and twinkle in your eye. That line doesn't tear him down. It teases just enough to spark challenge, curiosity, and flirtation all at once. You're inviting him to keep showing up while letting him know you're not so easily won over. And here's the secret ingredient: tone. The difference between teasing that builds attraction and teasing that shuts someone down is all in the warmth. When your tone is light, your eyes are soft, and your smile is present, you can push and pull with charm. But if it comes from a defensive, guarded place, it backfires. Classy teasing has no edge. It's delivered with emotional intelligence. It creates a rhythm where you're both dancing in the space between admiration and challenge. That's what makes it feel so alive. Teasing also shows a man that you're comfortable in your own skin, that you don't have to play it safe or overly polite to be liked. You're real, you're grounded, and you're playful. And that's magnetic. It tells him, I'm not here to impress you, I'm here to connect with you. And that kind of energy is rare, because most people are either too reserved to take the risk or too brash and forget the charm. You're mastering both. And the result? He walks away smiling, replaying your words, trying to figure out what you meant. And when he can see you again, there's nothing more captivating than a woman who knows what she wants and isn't afraid to say it. Not in a demanding way, not in a cold or entitled way, but in a way that radiates self-respect, clarity, and emotional maturity. When you can express what you desire, whether that's affection, attention, exclusivity, or even just a certain type of experience, with calm certainty and zero apology, you instantly separate yourself from the crowd. Because here's the truth. Most people are afraid to be direct. They tiptoe, hint, or suppress their needs in hopes of being liked. But a woman who can say, "This is what feels good for me," or "Here's what I'm looking for," without flinching, that woman becomes unforgettable. Asking for what you want isn't about being aggressive, it's about being clear. And clarity is sexy. It shows a man that you're emotionally available, not playing games, and not afraid of vulnerability. That's rare because we live in a culture where many women have been taught to go with the flow to keep a man interested. But going with the flow too long can make you disappear in his life. The woman who speaks up, who names her needs with softness and strength, creates a blueprint for how she wants to be treated. And the right man, he listens. He adjusts, he steps up, because now he has something worth rising to. Let's say you're early in dating and you want more communication. Most would either silently grow resentful or drop sarcastic hints. But the woman making a bold move says, "Hey, I like you, and I find that I feel most connected when we're in touch regularly. That's important to me." It's not an ultimatum, it's not begging, it's just truth. And truth, when delivered with confidence, inspires respect. Even if he's not the right guy, he will remember you as the woman who didn't hide her heart. Or maybe you've been physical with him and you're craving more emotional depth. You don't bury it. You say, "I love the chemistry between us, but I also value feeling emotionally connected. I'd love to know more about what you want and where your head's at." That level of honesty is rare and it's disarming because it's not laced with pressure. It's just a woman stating what matters to her. That kind of boldness, it builds emotional safety, it builds tension, and it builds value because now he knows he's not just with a beautiful woman, he's with a woman who knows who she is. The beautiful thing is, when you ask for what you want without apology, you teach others how to love you well. And even if the man in front of you isn't your forever person, he'll never forget the way you showed up. Most people mold themselves to fit into someone else's idea of love. But the woman who stands in her truth, she becomes the standard. She becomes the memory. She becomes the woman who, long after the moment is over, he compares every future connection to. Ladies, let me leave you with this. So many women are told to play it safe, to not be too much, to wait for him to lead. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. The women who make the deepest impact, the ones who leave a man thinking about them long after the conversation ends, are the ones who take bold, confident action without ever sacrificing their softness. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room. You don't need to act detached, play games, or pretend you don't care. In fact, the most powerful energy you can carry is the combination of presence and power, playfulness and self-respect. Whether it's holding eye contact just a little longer, walking away while the moment still sparkles, teasing him with a smirk and a raised brow, or calmly expressing exactly what you want. These aren't just dating tactics, they're signs of a woman who knows who she is. The kind of woman who captivates a man isn't the one who tries to earn his affection by shrinking herself. It's the one who invites him into her world, challenges him with warmth, and never apologizes for wanting real connection. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these bold moves, just one. Try it this week. Practice it, not because you're trying to manipulate a result, but because it's an act of self-expression. Watch how people respond to you differently. Watch how your confidence expands when you realize that you don't need to be chosen. You just need to show up as the woman you already are. And the right man, he won't be able to stop thinking about you. Now go be unforgettable. Asking for what you want isn't about being aggressive, it's about being clear. And clarity is sexy. It shows a man that you're emotionally available, not playing games, and not afraid of vulnerability. That's rare because we live in a culture where many women have been taught to go with the flow to keep a man interested. But going with the flow too long can make you disappear in his life. The woman who speaks up, who names her needs with softness and strength, creates a blueprint for how she wants to be treated. And the right man, he listens. He adjusts, he steps up, because now he has something worth rising to. Let's say you're early in dating and you want more communication. Most would either silently grow resentful or drop sarcastic hints. But the woman making a bold move says, hey, I like you, and I find that I feel most connected when we're in touch regularly. That's important to me. It's not an ultimatum, it's not begging, it's just truth. And truth, when delivered with confidence, inspires respect. Even if he's not the right guy, he will remember you as the woman who didn't hide her heart. Or maybe you've been physical with him and you're craving more emotional depth. You don't bury it. You say, I love the chemistry between us, but I also value feeling emotionally connected. I'd love to know more about what you want and where your head's at. That level of honesty is rare and it's disarming because it's not laced with pressure. It's just a woman stating what matters to her. That kind of boldness, it builds emotional safety, it builds tension, and it builds value, because now he knows he's not just with a beautiful woman, he's with a woman who knows who